Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'll give you 7 practical tips for clear English speech. This isn't about changing your accent. Accents are a natural and beautiful part of who we are. Everybody has one. The goal here is clarity. You can have a strong accent but still speak clearly. Clear speech means that people can understand what you're saying the first time without needing you to repeat yourself or guessing the meaning. And that can make a huge difference. It helps you feel more confident in conversations, presentations, interviews, and even everyday interactions. It helps you connect better with others, express your ideas more confidently, and avoid misunderstandings, especially in work or social settings. When your speech is clear, people focus on your message and not on trying to decode your words. It also makes your English sound more fluent and polished, even if you still have a noticeable accent. Working on your accent is about sounding more native, but working on your clarity is about being understood no matter what you sound like. And that's something every English learner can benefit from. Also, please like, share, and comment on this video. It really helps the channel and my work. And a huge thank you to the sponsors of our channel who are just regular people who appreciate and support what we do. I can't thank you enough. Some of you have been with us for years, and it means the world to me. Your continued support is what allows me to keep going, keep working, and keeps this channel afloat. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. All right, let's get to it. One of the easiest and most powerful ways to improve clarity is simply to slow down. When you speak too fast, your words can blur together, your pronunciation may suffer, and your listener has to work harder to understand you. This is especially true in a second language where even small slips can lead to confusion. Slowing down doesn't mean sounding robotic. It means being intentional. When you speak at a steady, relaxed pace, you give yourself the chance to pronounce each word more clearly and naturally. It also gives your listener time to process what you're saying in real time. Another bonus, it makes you sound more confident. People who rush often sound nervous or unsure, but slowing down shows that you're in control and thinking about your message. A little pro tip: if you're nervous, you're probably thinking that you're speaking too slowly, but in reality, you're probably going faster than you think. So, take a breath, pause where needed, and let your words land. Mumbling is one of the biggest obstacles to clear communication. When you speak too softly, don't move your mouth enough, or let your words trail off, it sometimes becomes very difficult and even impossible for others to follow what you're saying. Even if your grammar and vocabulary are perfect, poor delivery can make it seem like you're unsure or unconfident. To fix this, focus on articulation. Try speaking with a slightly wider mouth opening and make sure that each sound in a word is clearly pronounced. This doesn't mean exaggerating your speech, but it does mean giving your mouth the space to shape each word properly. Think of it like unlocking your voice. Also, check your volume. If people often ask you to repeat yourself, you might be speaking too quietly without realizing it. If people often ask you to repeat yourself, you might be speaking too thunder. Okay, I got distracted. Make a habit of projecting your voice outward, not shouting, but speaking with energy and intention. Remember, confident speakers don't hide their voice, they let it shine. Your voice is a tool, and the clearer it is, the more impact your words will have. Try this. Practice reading a paragraph every day while slightly exaggerating your mouth movements and voice projection. It may feel silly at first, but it trains your muscles to articulate better in real conversations. Every English learner has certain sounds that are harder to pronounce than others, especially if those sounds don't exist in their native language. One of the best things you can do for clear speech is to identify which sounds you struggle with and practice them regularly. For example, many learners have trouble with the TH sound in the words like think, thank, or three. Others confuse similar sounds like R and L. For example, saying light instead of right or rice instead of lice, and especially if both don't exist distinctly in their first language. You might also want to pay special attention to the words where the R and L sounds appear together, because they can be extra challenging. Words like really, clearly, literally, rarely, parallel, world can easily get jumbled if you're not used to switching between those two sounds quickly. Another common issue is ending sounds. In fast speech, it's easy to drop the final ed in words like helped, walked, missed, or the s in plurals in books, cats, friends, but leaving those out can confuse listeners or even change the meaning of your sentence. For example, he walks versus he walked signals two very different tenses. How to improve? Make a list of words with your problem sounds and practice saying them out loud every day, slowly and clearly. You can also use tongue twisters to challenge your pronunciation in a fun way. Record yourself speaking and listen back. You'll start noticing patterns you might not hear in real time. Try minimal pairs practice. This one is really good. Like write, light, sink, think, to train your ear and mouth to feel the difference. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. Even small improvements in these tricky areas can make a big difference in how confident and clear your English sounds. English is a stress-timed language, which means that certain syllables in words and even whole words in sentences are naturally emphasized more than others. In multi-syllable words, this stress is what makes the words sound familiar and recognizable to native speakers. If you stress the wrong syllable, the word might sound strange, robotic, or even like a completely different word. For example, English speakers say hamburger, not hamburger. And present is a noun, whereas present is a verb. One word, two meanings, based entirely on the syllable stress. Putting stress in the right place helps make your speech more natural, improve your rhythm and flow, reduce misunderstandings, boost your listening skills because you start noticing patterns in how others speak too. How do you learn where the stress goes? Listen and imitate. When learning a new word, don't just memorize its spelling. Listen to how it's pronounced and try to match the stress. Use online dictionaries. Most will show you stress with a small mark before the stress syllable. Practice with audio. Repeat words after native speakers and exaggerate the stress syllables at first. This will help your brain and muscles lock in the rhythm. Bonus tip. Try clapping out syllables when practicing. Clap louder on the stressed syllables. It might sound silly, but it's surprisingly effective. Use intonation. The music of English. English isn't just about words. It's about how those words sound. Think of intonation as the music of the language. It's the natural rise and fall of your voice when you speak, and it plays a huge role in making your speech sound fluent, expressive, and easy to follow. When someone speaks in a flat, monotone voice, even perfect grammar can sound robotic and unclear. But when you let your voice move, going up and down and emphasizing the right words, it brings your speech to life. And it helps the listeners catch your meaning more easily. Intonation helps you show emotion, highlight important words or ideas, signal whether you're asking a question or making a statement, keep your listeners engaged and interested. It's just like in music. Notes that go up and down create a rhythm that people respond to emotionally and mentally. And that's exactly what good intonation does in spoken English. How to improve it? Mimic native speakers. Watch TV shows, YouTube videos, or interviews and copy how the speaker's voice moves, not just what they say. Again, record yourself. Play it back and listen. Does your voice sound expressive or flat? And adjust accordingly. Mark your sentences. When practicing, underline or bold the words you want to stress and use arrows to show pitch changes. Once you start using intonation consciously, your speech will sound more natural, confident, and engaging, like someone who really owns the language. Keep sentences short and simple. When speaking English, especially as a non-native speaker, simplicity is your superpower. It is tempting to try to sound advanced by using complex grammar or big words, but it often leads to hesitation, mistakes, and confusion for the listener. Simple, clear sentences are easier to say, easier to understand, and much more effective in real-life conversations. Why does this matter? Long, complicated sentences increase your chances of making grammar mistakes or losing your train of thought. Shorter sentences allow you to speak more confidently and fluently because your ideas are easier to organize and deliver. Listeners process short sentences faster, which makes your message clearer and easier to remember. For example, instead of saying, I was thinking that maybe we could potentially go out to have some dinner if you're not too busy this evening. Say, do you want to get dinner tonight? It's short, it's natural, and it gets the message across clearly. Think of it this way. You don't need big English to sound fluent. You need clear English. Express one idea at a time. And don't be afraid to pause between thoughts. This makes you sound confident and in control of your message. And here's some helpful tips. If you're not sure how to phrase something, say it in the simplest way you can. Practice breaking down long thoughts into 2 or 3 shorter sentences instead of cramping everything into one. Watch how native speakers speak in everyday situations. They often use simple sentence structure too. Remember, you're not writing an academic paper. You're just communicating. And in spoken English, clarity always beats complexity. Many people, native speakers included, myself included, use filler words like like, so when they speak. It's completely normal, but using too many of these filler words can make you sound unsure, distracted, or unprepared. More importantly, it can take away from the clarity and impact of your message. Instead of filling every moment of silence, practice using a pause. A short moment of silence gives your listener time to process what you just said, and it gives you a moment to think of what you want to say next. Why pausing is powerful. It helps you avoid rambling. It makes your speech feel more thoughtful and intentional, adds natural rhythm to your speaking, and it gives you time to breathe and collect your thoughts. How to get better at this? Again, record yourself speaking and count how many filler words you use. Practice pausing intentionally in a sentence, especially when you feel the urge to say, slow down your speech. This connects back to the tip number 1. Speaking at a steady pace makes it easier to pause without feeling awkward. Remember, silence is not your enemy. In fact, a well-placed pause can make you sound more confident, professional, and clear. And I too need to use all these tips, and I do try to use them because I am very far from being perfect. So let's encourage and motivate each other and work on this together. All right, everybody, that'll be it for this video. My vocal cords hurt from speaking so much, honestly. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. Give it a like, share, comment, subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you in the next one.